Transformation 1. Education Innovation through Digital and Collaborative Learning. Presented by Andrew Yates, Emma Hillary, and Kathy Yates. Sir Ken Robinson raises a number of important questions over a series of presentations that relate to educational environments and outcomes. Should education be for education's sake, teaching children the worth of intrinsic motivation and self-fulfillment? For too long, the hierarchical approach to education has been the whim of political, economic, and academic influences, instead of focusing on the needs of the student. Robinson speaks of the changing education paradigms and outlines the challenges he sees education facing as a result of what is perceived major social, economic, and technological changes at the beginning of the 21st century. He notes that society has significantly changed both technologically and socially since the inception of educational models that primarily were developed from the 18th and 19th century, and therefore reflect the era of a bygone age that are inappropriate and incompatible for today's world. However, the traditional view of education is still deeply rooted within our schools. More needs to be done to move away from the teacher commanding the classroom and being the gatekeeper of knowledge, and to move away from traditional values placed on academic versus non-academic subjects. Additionally, the division of the school day into periods has changed very little in most instances. How does this model reflect the flexibility of the modern day existence? Furthermore, the way that we communicate is ever-changing, and the democratization of language is becoming a social norm, with text-speak and emoji becoming part of the accepted way we communicate. It seems that education is not addressing this advancement of communication. The digital revolution is ever increasingly pervasive, and with the development of digital correspondence and social platforms, do schools address these communication tools or ignore them and castigate them for being a distraction? Additionally, education learning still predominantly prefers written and verbal forms of communication over any forms of expression. Again, Sir Ken Robinson challenges this. In today's age of mass communication and consumerism, objects, products, music, dance, drawing, photography, sound and video recording, all are expressions of the human experience. Do they not speak for themselves and communicate a range of responses? An aspect that Robinson sees different societies grappling with is in balancing of cultural identity and globalization. The NZQA refresh has looked at culture and is one aspect of the assessment framework that is being addressed, and the worth of Maori culture by placing greater value on Matarangi Maori. However, the removal of unit standards and the reduction of credits or assessments has the potential to undermine the assessments being a reflection of the individual child's strength and potentially shows a student's weakness. Again, there is a potential to create a two-tier hierarchical approach to education, to those who are academic and those who are trade-based. Rangi Maori, Pomari, highlights the importance of students being at the heart of education rather than focusing on the abstract theories that students find hard to relate to, and for education to reflect the student's own journey, a journey into the future. How exciting is that? Now we will hear from Emma Hillary, where she discusses digital technologies and collaboration.
The recent global pandemic has identified the need for digital technologies and communication to be used in a collaborative way within the classroom environment, hence preparing our students for future employment skills. According to Babashko 2018, 92% of future jobs will need digital skills. This is supported by the OECD publication in 2018, where it explains that the students of today will face challenges that we cannot imagine. As technology changes, it's imperative that we as educators adapt with these changes. The big question we need to answer is, what skills do our students actually need? According to Brinkley M. and others, 2012, there are four main key ideas we need to recall, and that is ways of thinking, tools for working, ways of working, and ways of living in the world. We must remember that all of our students are going to be global citizens of a global world where they need to be creative, innovative, they need to be critical thinking. Most of all, they need to be digitally literate. Technology helps teachers too. In the UK, a recent survey of teachers clearly showed that whilst digital technologies help Students, undoubtedly, they also allow teachers to free up time in order to develop and help students on a more one-to-one basis. Further to note is that modern education extends beyond just a mere transmission of knowledge and procedures, but to encourage our students to become reflective learners, as indicated by Sharples. Our learners stop, redefine, reassess their work as they go, in order to rethink our pedagogical approach within our classroom environment. We need to consider using SAMR, S-A-M-R, substitution, augmentation, modification and redefinition within our practice. Are we achieving this? This is when we need to stop and think. A recent article in New Zealand's Educational Gazette identified that the levels of engagement within digital communication and learning is both collaborative and engaging. Digital technologies and collaboration is essential moving forward into the 21st century. It's essential that we teach our students this, and it's essential that we learn these for ourselves. Some useful apps that people have used are Edpuzzle, the Google Classroom Suite, and so on and so on. But whatever we do, remember, this is uniquely personalised, and it's a complex system of interactions, people, places, resources, digital tools and growth, as identified by the Education Gazette 2021.
We will now look at the culturally intelligent opportunities to innovate.
Being culturally intelligent is about being able to function and manage effectively in culturally diverse settings. As kaiako, we need to be able to not just function and manage in these settings, but to flourish. Our students deserve that. But how do we do this? One opportunity to be culturally intelligent as we engage with digital technology and collaboration is by making sure that we embed kaupapa Māori into the very framework of this undertaking. We can see this concept expressed through He Whare Ako, He Whare Hangarau. In this image from their work, you can see one aspect, the papa, or floor, embedded with a range of Māori concepts. For teachers looking to innovate and develop culturally sustaining digital and collaborative learning, this is a great place to start, making sure that kaupapa Māori is an essential element right from the groundwork and not an afterthought. Another powerful opportunity that digital and collaborative learning can provide is the ability to empower akonga to tell their own stories and to do so with a vast potential audience. For too long, the stories, learning and knowledge have been presented through a lens of the dominant culture of Aotearoa. According to Matata Sipu, in her podcast Nuku 100, we are living in a media-saturated world, but we are not exactly drowning in our stories. However, we are beginning to see an initial trickle starting to flow through the work of educational innovators such as Whetū Paitai and his collaboration with Microsoft to create Ngā Motu, a Minecraft platform that is embedded in Te Ao and Te Reo Māori. In this world, akonga can hold on to their Māoritanga and be in the digital space at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. In this world, they can be both consumers and producers of culturally intelligent material. By facilitating storytelling, it also helps us as kaiako to better know our students. Te Salasi makes the pertinent point in her TED Talk that all of us are multi-local, multi-layered. To begin our conversations with an acknowledgement of this complexity brings us closer together, I think, not further apart. This is an essential starting point for us to create learning environments in which we value the unique stories of all akonga and share in this exchange ourselves. Digital tools can help students to have the confidence to create and share their unique identities. This point is supported through the work of Villegas and Lucas, in which they state, to teach subject matter in meaningful ways and engage students in learning, teachers need to know about their students' lives. We could do this through a myriad of ways, such as a visual pepeha or I come from poem, or a constructivist approach in which their learning builds upon their prior knowledge and experiences. Our approach to digital and collaborative learning, if done with cultural intelligence, has the potential to decolonise education. However, this requires a pedagogical shift. In the words of Anne Milne, we need to make sure we are not just transferring white spaces into a digital format with poor quality, low expectation work. We also need to make sure that we know our students and the situation in which they are engaging in digital learning. Milne goes on to encourage kura and kaiko to audit their virtual white spaces, raising questions that we need to take seriously, such as, how do you know your student isn't trying to write your NCA assignment on mum's phone, which is also being used by other whānau members, all trying to do their schoolwork? If we are not able to honestly ask and answer these sorts of questions, then we risk perpetuating inequality and lacking cultural intelligence.
According to a reflection framework by the Victoria State Government 2009, critical reflection challenges us to step back and examine our thinking by asking probing questions, not only to delve into the past and look at the present, but importantly, it asks us to speculate about the future and act. That is what we're going to do now.
We're going to start with our first question, which is, how did we organise our collaboration on this project? Who wants to go first?
Well, we seemed to break down the task, didn't we, into manageable chunks that we could either share between us to just make it more manageable for us, because we're really busy at the moment.
Yeah, and then we each ended up picking an objective that we were going to focus on.
Based on our strengths?
Yeah.
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 And then the Google Drive was set up.
Yeah, it's a blessing, isn't it, having
Yes.
Google Drive and things, and Google Docs.
And we were sharing each other's work. And
Yeah, so we had a Google Doc in there that we could put anything we found that was useful, so that we found something relevant to someone else's section, we could share it. We colour coding. So
Highlighted.
we highlighted, each person had a different colour, and so we could make it really clear that that was useful to someone else.
Yeah, I thought the collaboration both together when we had a few meetings together, but then we could go away and then just jump onto Google Docs and then just see all these wonderful colours coming through in this wonderful language was amazing. Sorry.
it made you feel like you weren't alone. We were all in this together, and I think we collaborated really well. I think we should get 100% for collaboration because we were awesome.
Yeah, we had the time together to figure out what we were doing and share ideas, but then time where you could go away and go into more depth by ourselves.
What do you think were the greatest strengths of how we collaborated?
I think one of the things that was most important, and Emma's mentioned already, is that we work to our strengths. So you're really good with your digital skills and editing, so you've taken responsibility for editing this all together at the end. And we had our different topics we were interested, so you're really into your...
And we were professionals.
Yeah.
Nobody was overly precious about one thing. Everybody was just very easy and just got on with it.
Yeah,
I
And
think
supportive of each other too.
Yeah, I think our relationships that we've built up over our many years teaching together really actually helped to make it an easy transition from just schoolwork into doing this Mind Lab.
Yeah.
And we got to know each other even better.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we set up that worked really well was having a regular time to meet.
Yes.
And it kept us all accountable, and we didn't want
Goals.
to, had clear things we had to achieve
By
before
that
we
date.
met up again, and you're really motivated by not letting down the others in the group.
Don't want to let anybody down, no. So,
the final question, what could we have done differently in order to push the collaboration even further?
cancelled NCA. Done this not whilst teaching full time in a COVID year. I would have liked to have learnt more from Andrew about how to do the videoing and that side of the...
I think we're very much time poor, and I think all the actual Mind Lab meetings and things and everything like that, when you're trying to teach full time and have to go to set timings, sometimes it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, and the ideal world would have been good to kind of pick the areas that we weren't as confident in, and have the maximise the learning and learn from each other from those that did have those strengths. But with the time constraints that
we all had
in an ideal world, we could have done that.
I think also having two social studies teachers who were good on referencing and things was really good, because you understood the APA and things.
Yes.
Yeah, we were able to use that sort of expertise, those that were really confident.
But then you're the art teacher, so you were really good with all of the digital side of that side of things too. So actually I think we made a really good team.